For the Music and Audio Kinetics game Cube, I composed it to sound how the map level looked and felt. This map is dark, vast, and labyrinth-like, with many different rooms and dungeon-like chambers. I composed dark, suspenseful ambient music that was ever-evolving, with a subtle underlying pulse to inspire the player to constantly march forward and explore, yet not be distracting to gameplay. I performed the music through electronic drums and Ableton Live's push MIDI controller for both percussion, tonal instruments, synths, as well as choir vocals. For the main part of the map, the music is constantly interactive and changes depending on the player's health through Wise's health status switch. As the player takes more damage, the music heightens in intensity with more percussive layers and hits. When health gets dangerously low, the player's breathing and heartbeat become audible to build tension and signify the dire state of the player's character. These were built with playlist containers that were assigned to different health states within the health status switch group. Each health state playlist container has multiple music tracks that it constantly and randomly loops through. This keeps the score evolving and adds critical musical variation to each health state, avoiding repetitive musical statements. Smooth and seamless transitions between these tracks and health states is also critical. Under the Transitions tab, the transition behavior can be set for each playlist container. During a health status change, I had a transition on the next beat and in time with the music. Each of these transitions also have proper crossfades between them, so nothing sounds abrupt or distracting during the transition. The enemy characters also interact musically with the score through the triggers Monster Attack Near and Monster Attack Far. When the enemy fires at the player from a long distance, it triggers a low register rising tone that bellows into the score. When the enemy fires at close range, a subtle yet urgent tone is played. These musical cues triggered by the enemy are ambient in nature, but during combat help build the intensity quickly and can easily enter the score at any point in the measure without sounding offbeat or out of place. While editing the CFG file, I added more trigger command lines for sound emitters, which added distance-sensitive sound cues for items of importance on the map. As you approach and get closer to the item, it emits a sound that gets louder in volume via object attenuation. This alludes that it is significant and of great value. Some emitters had percussion loops, which were performed and recorded at the same BPM of the game's music. Each item also had percussive musical stingers as they were picked up in-game. Each stinger was triggered on beat and in tempo of the game's music, and also had an event stop action to stop the existing emitter sound from playing. In order to get the emitters and stingers to start on beat and all function in time with the music, they had to be added as game sync triggers in the music's main switch group stingers tab. All game sync triggers were assigned to play at next beat. I wrote different music for the pre-battle chamber right before the boss fight. I composed this music to signify impending doom and fearful apprehension before a big showdown with the boss. This piece of music had an underlying pulse as well, as to stay coherent with the previous main music of the game, but I also wanted to introduce new fresh musical elements and stark contrast with much higher musical tension. All instruments and vocals were multi-samples in Ableton Live and triggered through MIDI. Here's a quick listen. For the final boss fight, the music is much more grandiose and tonal, with a loaded mid-register brass section. More dynamic and epic orchestral percussion is performed as well. I composed this music to signify the big entrance of the two final bosses, but also wanted the music to inspire the player to push forward and fight for a hard-earned victory. These instruments are also multi-samples triggered through MIDI. Both the pre-boss music and the final boss music are interactive, responding to player health status. For the home stretch, Colonel Rickson cheers you on through the last gauntlet of enemies over the bridge, leading you to the ultimate final goal, the precious carrot.
You're in the home stretch, kid. Do what you do and light 'em up. Of that carrot. Outstanding job, Lieutenant. Let's get you home.
I'm James Mello. Thank you for watching my Wise demo reel.